Alright, hi YouTube, this is Online Modelling back again, and today we're going to be doing an in-box and detailed review of the Gemini Macs Boeing C17 Globemaster 3 from Gemini Jets in the 1 to 400 scale. Now this is a military, obviously it's Gemini Jet, so it's a military scale model, hence you've got the sort of engraved aluminium, steel, whatever it is, background on this case which identifies it as being a Gemini Macs. So the box art here, we just feature the Globemaster 3 and its side-on view here, nice graphic design showing you all the details that can possibly be found on the actual model itself, which we'll look into in a second. Along the side we just have some die-cast item number, which is Golf Mike Uniform Sierra Alpha 042. A little warning and everything, barcode, nothing really that special, anything to look at. And then on the inside we've got quite a bit paragraph of information here, as well as the specifications, which I'll just summarise. So this C17 was roughly delivered, it entered service of the United States Air National Guard Aeromedical Evacuation Wing in Mississippi Air Force Base in roughly 2005. And so far has thus retrieved the roughly 29,000 patients for the United States from war zones such as Iraq and Afghanistan, as well as its stations abroad in Germany. So C17 has an unparalleled and an unparalleled surface record with the United States Air Forces and many others, such as the Royal Air Force, Royal Australian Air Force, and Qatar Airways, things like that, for being an extremely reliable and versatile quad-jet airlift transport workhorse. So it's a really iconic and revolutionary aircraft for the 21st century, and we'd like to see what Gemini Jets has brought to us, as it's accurate, hopefully accurate depiction and representation of this iconic piece of machinery. So if we can get the box open. Here we have, of course, as usual, the Gemini Jet standard vacuum formed packaging that we always have. Gemini Jets. This might be a bit of a faff to get open. First problem encountered. Bloody hell. Alright, well that's the first disadvantage to some Gemini Jets. As pristine a condition you may hope to keep your jet in, you're probably going to be disappointed the first time you try to open it, when that sort of thing happens and you feel that you've just put all your morals out the window. But regardless of it, here we have the actual model. So it's feeling very heavy, very weighty. You know, it's solid lead or whatever it is. I'm not really sure, but yeah, it's a very solid feeling we get to the model. And the first impressions are overall, I'd say, fairly good, but in some ways possibly slightly disappointing, because it's just a little bit dull, if you ask me. Like, there's just not much to it. I mean, there's not very much detailing around the nose sections in terms of, you can just about see the pitot tubes here, but that's about it. You know, there's some quite large dull areas which I know on the real aircraft just don't exist. I mean, I said the flap fairings here are just poor, the way they haven't actually indented the panel lines very well at all. It's just not very good, I don't think. The leading edge of the wings a bit poor. This aluminium on the slats not very well represented, I don't believe. And in terms of the actual shape of the mould, I think this nose is just a bit poor. I mean, it's a bit blunt, I think. It hasn't really got the iconic shape to it that you see on most C17s, I don't think so. I don't know, it's just my opinion, but I don't think it's that good. And then another thing to complain about, in a way, is a similar thing we had on the Antonov, where, well, you have these high top surface fuselage mounted wing sections here. You have this gap in between, where they haven't really been bothered to fill it with any sort of metal or anything like that, and they've just left this huge horrible seam line, which I just think looks a bit disgraceful and sort of ruins the overall appearance. So you can be the judge of that, but there you go. So at least we have the AMC logo stenciled on there, as well as the registration number and the United States flag, obviously, which looks a bit faded, to be honest, maybe a bit off center, but yeah. Moving around to the other side, it's pretty much the same. You can see the parachutist's deployment door here on the starboard side of the aircraft. Not very well detailed really, but yep, there it is. Moving over to turning over to the underside of the fuselage of the aircraft. I think this is where it gets the most disappointing. For a start, on the horizontal stabilizer, the elevators or trim surfaces are not indented whatsoever. It's just left completely flat there. I mean, for all we know, there might not even be any elevators on this aircraft, so that's a really big letdown. Furthermore, I'd say the rear cargo door is actually pretty terrible. I mean, look at that. I mean, there's basically two lines there to represent the entire cargo door, and that's just ridiculous because I've been up close to this aircraft. There are a lot of panel lines, there are a lot of wear and tear and probes and what have you around that area, but none of that's present on this model. And the last thing I'd say I really want to complain about is the way in which this landing gear just looks disgraceful. I mean, look at this. I mean, what kind of landing gear doors are those? They're just bloody pieces of folded heat. Yeah, plastic I think they are actually. They're not even metal. I mean, I say this is a die-cast aircraft, but there you go. It's just cheapskate sort of way of doing it. One of the wheels is missing on this example. Waste of money. Shouldn't have really purchased this, I don't think so. And there we have the wheel axles don't even line up on these landing gear bogies here. That's just, I mean, you can just judge it. I mean, I just don't think those landing gear doors are up to standard for an aircraft of this performance. I just don't think it lives up to it. So overall, I'd say this is really, to be honest, not the best aircraft. I mean, you can let the camera have a close-up view all around it and get some focus in on some of the few details are evident on this model, but overall I don't think it's very good value for money. I mean, I think we paid about in excess of £25 to £30 for this model, and yet I think we've been a bit let down with our first military or Gemini Macs purchase of any sort. So if I was to recommend this, I wouldn't recommend it unless you get it for free somehow. So, but anyway, here we are. So it's the Gemini Jets Max C17 Globemaster 3 from Gemini Jets in 1 to 400 scale. And thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. And thanks for online modelling.